This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by trainer Malik Scott here in Saudi Arabia. Malik, how are you?
How you doing, brother?
I'm very well, thank you. It's good to see you. And here we are yet again, 6 months on from Deontay's last venture into Saudi Arabia. He's back, this time
Yes,
against Zhilei Zhang.
yes.
What made you guys want to take this fight on as opposed to anybody else? Why Zhilei Zhang?
Well, first of all, he's a big threat. Um, he's southpaw. He has a good amateur pedigree. So I say all that to say he's a suitable opponent. And one thing we didn't want to do was bring Deontay back just to fight anybody. He's high-level boxing. It's a big-time fight. He's a big-time fighter. So why not basically redeem yourself and come back with a vengeance like he's been training and preparing to do. And we're going on 5 or 6 months of training camp now. And it's been pretty violent. I can't wait for you guys to see him Saturday. And if he do half of the things I've been seeing him do in the gym, he'll be extremely successful against Zhang come Saturday night.
For you, Malik, going back to that Joseph Parker fight, since then a lot of people were just kind of suggesting Deontay's timing was off, a lack of ring
Yes.
activity been
Yes.
playing a big part in his performance that night. Are there regrets
Yes.
that he wasn't more active going into it?
Yeah, and basically the inactivity played a huge part. But that's something that we noticed in the ring on the night of. When I seen he wasn't able to pull a trigger like I've seen him doing in sparring or seen him doing certain times in training camp, I knew we was in for a long night. And it wasn't so much of what Joe Parker was doing. It was almost every opportunity that Deontay was missing out on. And that's to take no credit from Joe Parker or Andy Lee. They came with a good methodical game plan. It was good for that night. That lesson, like Deontay say, was a blessing. We learned from that. And like I said, it's been 5 or 6 months of nothing but training camp, nothing but being a gym rat and continuing to develop his skills and continuing to also, what's the word I'm looking for? A fervor, anger, and being violent and being who he is. And that's a killer because that's what he really is. And it's nothing to me that could turn that switch off. Deontay Wilder is who he is. And if he's as violent come Saturday night as he's been in training camp, you guys are going to be in for a real treat.
Do you think he lost that violence, that kind of sense of anger before the Joseph Parker fight?
It's a possibility, like because it's hard. I'm sure not just for Deontay, but any fighter to get up out their silk pajamas and drive their Rolls Royce to the track or to wherever it is they got to run every single day. So a loss of hunger may have been the case, but I think more than anything, inactivity was really the case because I know so many fighters that's successful that still look good under the lights. But then I've also seen some of the greatest fighters just have all bad days at the office. Deontay Wilder is a great fighter. His status and legacy has proven that, but he had an off night on one of the most important nights of his career, you can say. But 5 or 6 months of training camp, he's here to make that right again. And like I said, all he has to do is be himself and be the killer that he is, and he'll get the results that he wants come Saturday night.
Both Zhilei and Deontay have a common opponent with a most recent opponent in Joseph Parker.
Joe Parker, yes.
What did you make of Zhilei's performance against Joseph Parker?
I thought it was real lethargic. It came across like a fear of getting fatigued, because I think Zhang, he faces this fear of getting fatigued because he don't like who he become once he gets very, very tired. And that's a dark place. He don't like to go into a dark place, and that's what I seen. There was so much more he could have done against Joseph Park. He had 2 great moments against Joseph Park, I believe, 2 knockdowns. He didn't take initiative. He didn't act like a big man. He didn't behave like a fighter when he had his man hurt. He was just kind of cool with pawing with a jab. He was kind of cool with staying behind his front knee and not taking chances. And even I make a strong case on his side that you live and learn. Like, you know what I mean? I've never seen him fight like that. And also we got to give credit to Joseph Parker. It's something that he may be doing to cause these big punches to come across a little bit gun shy. Maybe he's more heavy-handed than you guys give him credit for. Maybe he's not as easy to hit as you guys give him credit for. I've been in a ring with Joseph Parker, sparring. I've been in camps with him, so I know exactly what he possesses. And what he possesses is good timing. He know how to be lethargic, and you could say, not lethargic, methodical. He know how to be very methodical at times and pick his shots, and that's what he's been able to be successful against these big titans, you can say, in these last couple fights. And he deserved a big name his last fight. This is a this statement right here, I'm saying it's like a tribute to Joseph Parker. For the last 2 wins of his career, he's beat probably two of the most dangerous heavyweights in the division right now. In my opinion, his next fight should be a real treat because it's deserving. He need a top quality name, and he need to be paid the big bucks because he's done something very, 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 very good in these last two fights, and I give him nothing but credit.
Malik, when I spoke to Zhilei Zhang about 30 minutes ago, he said they've studied the Lewis-Ortiz fight,
Yeah.
both of them on a couple of well, more than a couple of occasions.
Yes.
Have you guys watched that footage back in terms of what Deontay did well
For
for
who?
the Wilder versus Ortiz?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, 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 absolutely. Wilder-Ortiz 2 is my favorite fight, even though number one is the most friendly fan fight. But I like in the second fight because Deontay had a lot more respect for Ortiz in the second fight. And when Deontay has a lot more respect for his opponent, he fights with a lot more humility. He fights with a lot more, you could say, sniper type of style where he really know what he has to do to get you out of there. And but the first one was, like I said, fan friendly. But those are fights that Arthur Spilka. Sometimes it don't have to be the style when I'm looking at a match or trying to film study. It could be like just a look. He fought Arthur Spilka. He fought Audley Harrison. He fought Ortiz twice. I've watched Deontay box Tony Thompson when we was younger, so he don't really have a problem with southpaws. The thing with Deontay and southpaws, it's not about the punching. It's about the position. If he get them in a good position, then it's lights out like it's always been. You know what I mean? The whole thing with this guy Zhang come Saturday. We have to protect ourselves because he's a big man, he's a big puncher, but at the same time, we got to be violent and very assertive. And Deontay understand that, and that's what we plan on doing.
Does Deontay have question marks himself over what he still has to give to boxing?
I'm sure the last fight isn't something that'll make any fighter feel 100% good about himself. But I think this where great fighters rise to the occasion. Right now we're in with a big, dangerous guy. That's a big southpaw. He has a good pedigree. And Deontay has to be on point to get this job done come Saturday. But I keep going back to this statement because it's so vital that if he does everything he's been doing in training camp and be as violent on Saturday he's been in training camp, then you guys are in for the treat. You guys are going to see the bronze bomber. You're not going to see Deontay Wilder. And that's what I'm expecting because I know what I've been seeing every day in training camp.
How does it play out? I know you can't give too much away, but how are you anticipating Deontay's hand being raised?
By knockout. And it's no secret what we plan on knocking him out with, just like it's no secret any other body else Deontay has clipped. Like, everyone know Michael Jordan was going to get the last shot. The thing is, can you stop that? You know Floyd Mayweather was going to do the cross guard, the shell defense. Can you stop that? You know what I mean? You know Mike Tyson was going to do the bolo punch. Can you stop it? Are you responsible enough to study Deontay or study a great fight enough that you can stop their best shot? If you are, that's good. But if you can't, God be with you. And we've had a great training camp. Deontay has been extremely violent. He's been assertive in training camp. And we're going to be victorious come Saturday night in grand fashion.
We know that a deal was agreed if Deontay had been successful in December for the Anthony Joshua fight. Seems to be a few murmurs that it could be revisited if Deontay is successful this coming weekend, maybe towards the back end of this year, if not early next year.
Yeah.
Is it a fight you guys have spoken about, still want to try and make Wilder versus Joshua?
Whether we speak on the fight or not, it's the fight is always in the air. Especially Deontay going here and do Saturday night, what I know he can do and believe he can do. Then the fight is always an option. Like, you know what I mean? It's just all about the business part being done, made correctly, which Turkey has took over basically, and all business has been done correctly, and just getting the fight made and getting the fight done. I have no doubt in the belief I have in Deontay, and not just against Zhang, but against any of those guys. I believe him being on point, him being fighting with humility, him being disciplined, and him scoping these guys out and putting them in a good position to hit him with the missile. I believe anybody can get it. None of those guys can't really stand up to what he got to offer anyway because it's God-given. So we'll see.
What have you made of the more recent performances of Anthony Joshua against Otto Wallin and then Francis Ngannou?
Very good performances. Very, very good performances. Uh, I love the performance against Ngannou. I don't look at it like Ngannou was not some boxer. I look at when I see what AJ did to Ngannou, I think about what Ngannou did to Fury and how AJ didn't allow none of that to go down on his party with him. So you got to give the man credit for that. And he blew him out too. He really blew him out. He blinded him with I think, an air jab, and then like really scoped him with the straight right hand the first knockdown. Then the second knockdown was my favorite because he really decoyed with his body motion down, but shot the straight right hand up top. That was real Tommy Hearn style, gangster shit. I respect that. And I don't know why, like, it's something about the UK that they don't like to give Ben Davison this credit. I be all the way in the roughest cities in the world, and United States talking about how Ben Davis, he just has the tools. He's a good teacher. Like, he's young. I'm sorry that he's young and he has this knowledge, but he's a good teacher. He know what he's doing, and he's doing a terrific job with AJ so far.
Just one final thing I want to get your thoughts on. We had the Undisputed bout a couple of weeks ago here in Saudi Arabia. What did you make of Oleksandr Usyk's victory over Tyson Fury?
I thought it would. I picked Usyk by stoppage. I thought it would be stopped on cuts. The good, the interesting thing about Usyk and his team and his system, when he was champion at the other weight class, not heavyweight, right?
Cruiserweight.
When he was champion at cruiserweight, they already, before he was champion at cruiserweight, they was already plotting on Joshua and Fury. They used to train for Joshua and Fury, even they was getting ready for other fights. So for me to see that materialize into something, which is an incredible success story, it makes me proud of Usyk. I spent tons of times with him in training camp, not just in the States, but he's brought me to Ukraine with him and his family and his team. And if anybody deserved this kind of moment that he got the other day, the win over Fury in grand, when I say grand fashion, I mean he showed a lot of heart. Was the scorecards close? Yes, but when I say grand fashion, I mean he showed a lot of heart. He didn't get discouraged. At one time, I thought the fight for him was going downhill a bit. But one thing you gotta always commend him on, he finds a way to win against any style, against however big the opponent is. He always finds a way to win. And if we're talking about who's the best right now in the world, he has to be at the top of the pound for pound list for what he just done. He just has to be.
But by the time, say, the 8th and 9th came around and when he hurt Tyson Fury, a lot of people felt that Fury was just starting to gain control of the fight.
Yes.
Was it a surprise to you to see Usyk find those extra gears to shift the momentum firmly back in his favour?
Not really, because if you look at Alexander Usyk, all of his fights, when guys take their foot off the gas after 6 or 7 rounds, he steps on the gas. He did the same thing with AJ. He messes these guys up with his lead hand controls. He controlled the air so good. Before you know it, he has 6, 7 guys reaching down. Before you know it, they fighting at a 6'5" height now. He actually take their height away. He did the same thing to AJ for 2 fights, even though in the second fight against AJ, I thought AJ did pretty well. You could tell he tried to be a lot more assertive. So Usyk's system, it works very good. And he has no picks. You could be a short guy, Marat, he'll school you to death with the same style. You could be a bigger guy. And it's almost like something that was very funny that he said, but it had a lot of intent to it the day before. He said on the microphone, he said, "Fury, don't be afraid. Tomorrow I will not leave you alone." And if you know Alexander Usyk and you study his style and his system for a while, when he say he's not going to leave you alone, that means he's going to be all over you, not just with punches, with his feet, with his feints, with his control game, with the way he covered the distance. No matter what Fury did, Usyk was always a pain in his ass and in his face a lot. So, I was very proud of him. So you could say as a fellow boxer and as a friend, I was very proud of him to see him get that done.
A final one, Malik. A lot of people kind of look at Tyson Fury and question if maybe his punch resistance is starting to fade now. A lot of that will be down to the fights he had with Deontay.
Yes.
Have you looked at Tyson and thought it is starting to fade, his punch resistance, that is?
I don't know if his punch resistance is phasing though, but I know the first long left hook that Usyk hit him with, I think was the first, second round. If you look at it in slow motion, it looked like Deontay hit him with a hard jab. His eyes did a flare thing. And I'm like, oh, Usyk is getting to him. The thing with Usyk is this. He's not an extremely hard puncher, but I've never been in the ring with nobody that hits you with shots as much as you don't see as Usyk, and them the shots that hurt the most. And that left hook, Fury didn't even see it coming because Usyk's best shots is his blind side shots. It's his long left hook. His straight left is the shot that gets your attention, but his hook around the blind sides is the shots that really he can hurt you with. So a lot of times people will look at what he did to David Allen in sparring. That it was the same shot he did with Fury, how he hurt Anthony Joshua. It was the same. It's all blindsided shots because if you don't see the shots coming and you're so used to this guy decoying you with feints, he's decoying the air in front of you, he putting feet pressure on you. Then all of a sudden he's coming around on the blind side. You don't even see the shot coming, so you deal with it in a manner that you didn't even expect because once again you didn't see the shot coming.
Malik, I appreciate your time. I know you're going to be a busy
Absolutely.
man today.
Yes,
So
yes,
thank
yes.
you and
Yeah.
good luck on Saturday.
Yes, we're gonna do it, baby. Peace.